Hey guys, good evening. Today we are going to talk about how to write an SOP for your MBA abroad programs. Now, in my previous session, we discussed about the benefits of studying in US and Europe and what kind of options that you can go for, like your masters or maybe MS or your MBA. And today I thought that why not I actually start with how to fill up an SOP or how to write an SOP, because as I communicated earlier in my previous session that SOP is a very important part of your entire application process when you're when you're planning to study abroad. So I'm going to take a 30 seconds halt so that I can check for the technical difficulties and any problems if we have. And by then, I expect rest of the people to join. And then after 30 seconds, I'll start with my event. Thank you. Okay, so before I start, I also want to tell you that we also have a GMAT and GRE course, which is specifically catering to your application process with respect to your letter of recommendation, your SOP, your transcripts, and the entire application form, including the essays as well. Plus, we will also prepare you for the interviews and the personal interviews. And there are no GDs or case discussions when you're applying abroad. So it's not needed. So please, if you're interested, you can give us a call and you can join our courses. Right, it's 10,000 that we are offering at, but we also have a discount that we are giving right now. So you can go to instamojo.com/topmytest and we have the course details there. Plus, on our Facebook page and our website also, we have the course details. So I will give the link of my website and the Instamojo link after the event. Now, when it comes to the when it comes to writing an SOP for a study abroad program, it's a very difficult and in-depth process. Why I'm saying this is because people are not aware of the fact that an SOP is not to portray yourself to be a person with very good vocabulary, having using flowery words, extravagant words. That is not what they want to see when you are writing an SOP for your MBA abroad programs. So SOP is a way in which the colleges can determine whether the candidate can be whether the candidate can be the best fit for our college or not, whether the candidate can adapt to our college guidelines and procedures, and also the type of students that we usually take. So this is a completely different way of looking at it. I told you in my previous seminar also that why an SOP is important and what an SOP is used for. So today my main motive is to give you certain guidelines of how to write an SOP. We already know that it is what an SOP is used for, but the guidelines will actually help you, and I'm going to give it to you in stepwise so that you understand that okay, after this particular sentence I should go with this paragraph, or after the third paragraph this is the fourth paragraph, what should you write in each paragraph. So basically I'll be giving you a gist. I will definitely not be giving you very specific points, because it will differ from student to student, because every particular candidate would be different with respect to your academic profile or your professional profile. So I'm just going to give you a gist of what guidelines you can go for. So I'm just, this event is going to be a very short event. So this is what how you go about writing an SOP. So an SOP, the main, whenever you're writing an SOP, understand what is the main reason why the SOP is being asked to be written. So it is like a motivation. They want to know how motivated you are, and what kind of urge or what kind of desire do you have to join their college, because obviously they want the best in their entire student pool. They do not want anyone who is who even has the slightest bit of interest for in this particular program. So the first thing which you should ensure, that when you're writing an SOP, that the first point which should be included in your SOP is a good introduction. Now, what does it mean by a good introduction? A good introduction should give basically a starting point on how did doing an MBA or MS or a master's come to your mind in the first place. Now, ideally, I suggest my students to write something which they have experienced in their own life. Maybe a social issue that you all have come across, maybe a business scenario in which you were not able to perform to that particular extent, so you faced a problem and that's why you decided to go for it. Maybe an economic issue. So it's ideally, I always tell my students to relate your introduction and your answer with respect to any kind of events, social, economic, any kind of event which you have dealt with in your day-to-day life, and you were not able to fight with that particular scenario in that instance. So that's why you decided that yeah, I want to go for an MBA abroad. A short example will be like, so let me give you my example. So when I decided to do an MBA, I because I had a lot of experience of over 6 years, so definitely and the economic situation of the country, which is mainly contributed towards, when you're an MBA candidate, it's usually you should be between the age of somewhere around 25, 21 to 25. So I was a bit more experienced than what the economic situation, based on the economic situation of the country, what the Indian colleges usually want out of the candidates. So that's one of the reasons why I decided, okay, I'll go abroad and I'll do my MBA. There was one more student of mine, I remember, he wanted to do an MBA abroad. He went abroad. The sole reason behind it was because the previous place where he used to do a job, he was not getting the proper exposure with respect to networking and also with respect to the global responsibilities. Although he worked in a multinational company, he was not getting that. So that was one of the reasons why his career became stagnant at one point of time, and he wanted to give a new direction to his career, and that's the reason he went. So but this thing should differ. I mean, if you write the same answer again and again, so please understand that most of the times when people are there checking your SOP, it has to have an answer which is a bit different. So if you just copy it from some website, or take an idea from some other student who has actually gone through himself or herself, that is just not going to work. Maybe that person will give you a hint, maybe that person will give you an example, but if you copy the same reason why you want to do an MBA, sometimes it will not actually work. So it has to be very, very realistic. So make sure that your introduction starts with, how did the idea of you doing an MBA came, MBA or any kind of masters or MS program come across your mind. The second part which you need to ensure when you're writing an SOP is, you need to have an alignment between your academics and your the course that you're going for. So for example, most of the engineers, they usually go for their academics, sorry, they usually go for uh, the masters in engineering or in the tech field. So they usually give their GRE and they go for their masters, or they go for their MS program. For people, there are a lot of students who have a bachelor's in business administration or BCom, or they have done their bachelor's in commerce. They have gone ahead and they have gone for an MBA. So whatever reasons you do, make sure in the second paragraph you should include your academic alignment with the course that you want to go for. Okay, so third part, which the third reason why what you should write in your SOP is basically your extracurricular activities. So your extracurricular activities or co-curricular activities. So your extracurricular activities. Okay, so if for people who do not understand the difference between extracurricular and co-curricular activities, we already I had already I had an event before, so it's on our Facebook page. Please refer to the hobbies and interest event, and I have very well mentioned the difference between extracurricular activities and co-curricular activities, so you can go for it. So the people who are suppose you have coming back to the SOP point again, I'm sorry about that. So when you're writing an SOP, the third paragraph should be a relation between your extracurricular activities and or co-curricular and your MBA college. So what kind of extracurricular activities did you go for? I remember one student who used to play poker, and he was very good at poker. So and he used to play for he used to he used to play for some casinos as well. So that was one of the curricular activities or interest and activities mixed that he had shown in his profile. And they want to understand that what is that unique feature about you which is not there in anyone else. So as long as you can show that, uh, that would give you an added advantage of going for of getting an entry into the MBA college. So for me it was dancing. So I am a trained classical dancer, and I have a degree in dance and drama. So that was one of the reasons why when I was being interviewed, I had a lot of questions that they had asked me about my extracurricular activities, which also consisted of what kind of events I participated in, what kind of prizes I won. So whenever you're writing about your extracurricular activities or your hobbies, make sure that on the third paragraph you actually back it up with some amount of examples and tell them which kind of extracurricular activities that you went for. And second part is whether you have won any awards and distinctions and anything in the extracurricular field. And third and the most important point of this particular paragraph is how does it relate to your course structure that you want to go for. So for me it was uh, it was dance is more like, and the kind of dance dance which I actually pursued, that was more about a team dance. That actually taught me a lot of teamwork. Dance requires a lot of persistence, a lot of determination, which actually I feel is very necessary when you go for an MBA. So you need to actually establish some amount of relationship, if not with the particular course but also with the particular skills that you actually acquire. And by skills I do not mean the hard skills, I mean the soft skills, which can be useful in the particular course. So either you derive a relationship between the course and your extracurricular activities, or you derive a relationship between the skills that you have developed from your extracurricular activities and with the course that you would like to go for. Okay, so the fourth paragraph is pretty simple. The fourth paragraph is all about your academics and your academics or your work experience, any kind of internships you have done. If you do not have a huge work experience, if you have, for people who have about 4 5 years of work experience, you should write all about how you have polished yourself or nurtured yourself to be a successful corporate person in the long run. So they are very very interested in what your previous experiences are, apart from how good you were in academics. So you need to mention that very bluntly. What are the awards that you won? So if you say that, okay, I in 2012, let's say, I won the best employee award of I was the best employee of the month or best employee of the year of my company, which is fine. But this is something which is a very cliched kind of answer. So whenever you are talking about awards, whenever you're talking about appreciation, you should actually relate it to something where you can show some numbers. So for example, you were responsible for uh, the expansion of the company to, let's say, two more regions. Or you can talk about you were responsible for, if you're a marketing person, so you can talk about you were responsible for, let's say, increase in sales because of a particular brand event, that you or brand campaign which you had yourself organized and initiated. So something which where you can show some numbers. It's always good to show some numbers. Give back it up with some proof rather than just bluntly saying anything, because at some point of time you can also be double checked, or your background check will be done. And if they find out that it's a lie, then it can be a problem. So always back it up with some amount of examples. But yeah, fourth paragraph should definitely consist of your academic, or sorry, your academic or your internship or your work experience, and how it has helped you to helped you for being a perfect candidate for the for MBA or MS. Okay. Okay. Last is you end it with a good conclusion. Now, the conclusion should be an amalgamation of all the previous paragraphs that you have written. So, your extracurricular activities, your academics, and your work experience. So, you amalgamate that. And in the conclusion, you do not write about I won these awards. I have been responsible for these many sales, or this is the percentage of profit that I earn for my company. That is not something which you write for your conclusion. In your conclusion, what you should be writing is more of a gist of what experience you have gained for this particular from your experiences, different experiences in your life related to your academics and your work. What skills you have developed, what qualities, what strengths you have, which you feel would help you to be the ideal candidate who can add value to the organization, or in this case the institution where you want to go and do your studies. So what kind of value you can add, how you can help the student body, how you can help and contribute in different projects, in different team projects that are there. And that is how you finish your SOP. Now, please do not write that I'm really interested in the last line. I've seen a lot of people writing, really interested in writing, in joining this particular college. I hope that I get selected. I am the best possible candidate in and best possible candidate for this particular position or for this particular college. Please do not write that, because they usually do not the colleges would not want someone who would just be beating their own trumpets. They want someone who can take charge. They want someone who can take responsibility. So let them make the assumption. Let them make the conclusion. Let them make their inferences. What you can do is you can provide facts. What you can do is you can you can do what you can do is you can provide all the experiences that you have had in your life. So how you can end your SOP is like, you can say that I feel that I would be an ideal candidate, or I feel that I would contribute to this particular my university in these many ways. And if given a chance, I can also represent my college in various events and functions, and that is also going to help my college and also my peers in order to have a very successful future. So do give something. So ideally Europe and in the US colleges, the CSR or the CSV activities, the corporate social responsibility social activities, usually really work really well. All the companies are very very socially driven. So if you can show how in the conclusion how you can help your not only your peers but also you can help the society, what qualities you have to help the society, then that is going to be great. So in 5 paragraphs inclusive of your introduction, so your introduction, your academics, your extracurricular activities, your work experience, and other educational or other internship experience, and finally the conclusion, you can write a very very convincing SOP. So I hope you like this video. If you want to know more about it, see, as I told you, it's not possible for me to give to go into the depth of this SOP writing and give you all the details, because it's impossible for someone. I mean, I can give you hundreds and hundreds of ideas, but the point is that hundreds of ideas might not be right for your profile, might not be right for your academic achievements. So every person has a different way of looking at things. Even though your profile might be same as let's say the profile of someone else, your academic achievements might be same as someone else's, but there are certain qualities and strengths and skills of yours which are somewhere down the line you will definitely find there are some differences. So I cannot go to that depth in this particular video. I'm sorry about that. However, what I can do is, if you could if you have any other queries about how to write an SOP, if you want to join our courses, definitely you can join and I will help you to write the SOP from A to Z. But what I can do is, if you have any doubts when you're writing your SOP and you want to just give me a quick call, then I do not mind giving my feedback on the SOP. If you just want to give me, send me a draft of your SOP, just for a check kind of a thing. So let's proofread. So I would be more than happy to do that. So I hope that you all have an amazing experience writing a SOP, because frankly speaking, you get to explore a lot about yourself when you're writing the SOP, because you really have to think. And make sure you don't take finish it within a day. Take as much as time as you can. Usually ideally it takes about 4 to 7 days to write a very very convincing SOP. So take your time. And if you need my help, please reach out to me. I'll be giving my number. And again, this is Sucharita. I hope you like the video, and please share it with your friends. And I hope you have a great evening. Bye bye.